Welcome everyone. What is yoga? Is it philosophy? Is it practice? Is it a science? Is it an art? What is the true origin of yoga? Where does yoga come from? Who invented yoga? What is the language of yoga? Does yoga believe in God? What are the different types of yoga? Traditional, contemporary, modern, etc. Is it sacred? Is it religious? Is it dogmatic or is it experiential? Is yoga older than Sanatan Dharma, known as Hinduism? These are all the questions which are now prevalent in the mind of all the yoga practitioners around the world. After at least 5,000 years, over 1 billion people around the world are practicing yoga. People from different countries, cultures, languages, ethnical and religious backgrounds follow the practice with reverence. As the world embarks on the journey together, more and more people realize that they are the master of their own destiny and that the power of their well-being and prosperity lies within them. We trace back the journey of how this unique science, art, philosophy, and practice of yoga evolved over millennia. In this process, we will look into the ancient text and trace the key concepts which were developed and woven into what we today understand and practice as yoga. From the Shruti and Smriti text, from the Vedas, Upanishads, Agamas, Sutras, and Bhashyas, we embark on the journey from the source of this mighty river and follow its path all the way to the ocean of our present day. On this journey, we have with us an eminent scholar, Dr. Madhavi Godbole. Dr. Madhavi Godbole is an accomplished teacher and researcher, currently heading MIT School of Vedic Sciences. She has a teaching career spanning 16 years in the field of Sanskrit as well as other aspects of Indic knowledge systems. She holds vast research experience in lexicography. She is recognized mentor under IKS internship programs, AICTE, Ministry of Education, and Vedic and Scientific Research Foundations. Dr. Godbole has presented 21 papers at international, national, and state level conferences on topics like Veda, Upanishads, Darshanas, Hastyaurveda, Ayurveda, etc. She has 7 research papers, 20 research articles, and 55 popular articles published to her credit. She has significantly contributed for the 12 course books entitled Hindu Cultural Studies, published by Sri Vedanta Foundation, Kenya. She has edited the book on Bhaktamara Stotra and authored a book on Indian mind sciences. She has delivered many guest lectures on national and international level. She is contributing to the field of Sanskrit and Indian knowledge systems by being the chairperson and member of different boards of studies and academic councils, NEP cells of prestigious institutes, along with MIT, ADT, university like Deccan College Postgraduate and Research Institute, Maharshi Mahesh Yogi Vishwavidyalaya, etc. We will start our journey with the Hiranya Garbha Sukta, which will be covered by Madhavi in detail.
हिरण्यगर्भस्तमवर्तदाग्रे भूतस्य जातः पतिरेकः आसीत् सदाधारपृथिवीन्द्यामुदे मां कस्मै देवाय हविषा विधेम य आत्मदा बलदा यस्य विश्व उपासते प्रशिशं यस्य देवाः यस्य छायामृतं यस्य मृत्युः कस्मै देवाय हविषा विधेम यः प्राणतो निमिषतो महित्वैक इन्द्राजा जगतो बभूव य ईशे अस्य द्विपदश्चतुष्पदः कस्मै देवाय हविषा विधेम यस्येमे हिमवन्तो महित्वा यस्य समुद्रं रसया सहाहुः यस्येमा प्रदिशो यस्य बाहू कस्मै देवाय हविषा विधेम येन द्यौरुग्रा पृथिवी च दृढा येन स्वस्तभितं येन नागाः यो अन्तरिक्षे रजसो विमानः कस्मै देवाय हविषा विधेम यं क्रन्दसि अवसातस्तभाने अभ्यैक्षेतां मनसारे जमाने यत्राधिसूर उदितो विभाति कस्मै देवाय हविषा विधेम आपो हयद्बृहतीर्विश्वमायन् गर्भं दधाना जनयन्तीरग्निम् ततो देवानां समवर्तता सुरेकः कस्मै देवाय हविषा विधेम यश्चिदापो महिना पर्यपश्यद्रक्षं दधाना जनयन्तीर्यज्ञम् यो देवेष्वधिदेव एक आसीत् कस्मै देवाय हविषा विधेम मानो हिंसीच्च निदाय पृथिव्यायो वादिवं सत्यधर्मा जजान यश्चापश्चन्द्रा बृहतीर्जजान कस्मै देवाय हविषा विधेम प्रजापतेन त्वदेतान्यन्यो विश्वा जातानि परिता बभूव यत्कामास्ते जुहुमस्तन्नो अस्तु वयं स्यामपतयोरजीणाम्
Thank you, Madhavi, for joining us.
It's my pleasure. Thank you so much for inviting me on this platform.
Welcome. Madhavi, so let us start directly with the point. Why is it important to learn the Hiranya Garbha Sukta?
See, we have to deal with many aspects when we are coming to this particular point, that why Hiranyagarbha Sukta is very much important. First thing is basically, this is one of the 3 suktas, Darshanik Suktas or Suktas related with philosophy, which to whom we can say means all these 3 suktas we can deal as if the base of whole Indian tradition. All 3 suktas, Hiranyagarbha Sukta, Nasadiya Sukta and Purusha Sukta, are from Rigvedic text, which we know this is the most earlier available text to us. So these 3 suktas are basically, they are dealing with philosophical aspects. We can say that this is the beginning of the thought for Indian philosophy. Though they are the beginning thoughts, scholars are saying like these are the beginning thoughts or beginning of the philosophy. If we see the suktas, they are very much very thoughtful, and we cannot say just the beginning thoughts.
They are deep thoughts.
They are deep and much more loaded in the philosophical aspects.
Right.
So basically, Hiranyagarbha Sukta is one of them. So it is important to understand this sukta.
It is one of the base suktas, one of the 3 base suktas of entire Indian knowledge system or traditional Indic knowledge systems, as we know them, right?
Yes.
All right.
Secondly, I will not say that only these 3 suktas are there. Equally simultaneous tradition of Atharvaveda we can see in Indian philosophy, and there are ample suktas which those are dealing with philosophical aspects.
Right.
But as the Rigveda tradition is classical tradition and available, first available tradition as a whole tradition to us, these suktas are again important. All 3 suktas are again important.
Right.
Then second aspect is Hiranyagarbha Sukta is dealing with the process of the creation. That how an individual is created, how the world is created, what is the process, who is the basic principle. It is a famous story that a teacher is coming to the class along with the globe of the world.
Right.
And when a student and teacher communicate, discuss in the class, he is giving a perspective that controller is must. That if there is a whole creation, there must be a controller.
Right.
There must be a foundational principle. So this is not just the question of 19th or 20th century or 21st century, but we are dealing with this question since a long back. And that reflection we can see in this Hiranyagarbha Sukta saying, Kasmai Devaya Havisha Vidhema. So to which deity, to which principle we should offer our offerings,
Right.
which is controlling this universe, on which basis this creation, the whole creation has took place. So it is there.
Right. Can you let us know this who has been credited with the writing of this sutra, sukta? What is the definition?
Rushi Darshanat. So Darshanat means who have seen the knowledge, who has experienced the knowledge.
Right.
He is the person who can be said as Rushi.
Correct.
And he is the medium to give that knowledge to the next generations. Rushi is not just the author. Indian tradition never claims that this person is the author of so and so knowledge. This is the knowledge, and creator of the knowledge is again on the basis of that particular principle which is discussed in Hiranyagarbha Sukta.
Correct.
So Rushi of this particular sukta is Hiranyagarbha Prajapati. It's the nature of that particular deity which is discussed in the sukta.
Yeah.
So that deity is Prajapati, which is the basic principle, underlined principle of whole creation.
Correct.
If we are naming it as Prajapati, again, we need to be very careful that this is not Lord Brahma or the creator. This is the primordial principle which is Nirguna and Nirakara totally,
Right.
without attributes, without forms. So that which cannot be perceived with our sensory organs. And that principle itself is a deity of this particular sukta. Third aspect which is important, the meter of the sukta, and it is Trishtubh meter, which is again Vedic meter.
Right.
And 10 mantras are covered in Hiranyagarbha Sukta.
Mm-hmm.
And in those 10 mantras, the whole philosophical process, thought process is basically loadedly embedded
Correct.
in this particular sukta.
Correct. You mentioned, Dr. Madhavi, that this is a Darshanic Sukta. Can you elaborate on this point?
Yeah. See, Darshana is again a terminology. Normally it is translated as philosophy or philosophical thought, but Darshana means to see. The etymological meaning, if we go through, of the word Darshana, it is derived from the root Drusha Pashya. And Drusha Pashya means to see. So now seeing is related with our sensory perception. It means we are gathering the knowledge. How we gather the knowledge? Through our sensory perception. That process is incorporated, or it is understood that we are looking for the seeing for the knowledge, we are seeking for the knowledge, and we are understanding the things. Now again, the second aspect which is important here, that Darshana it is related with sensory perception that is understood.
Mhm.
But when we go to process of of understanding the knowledge, one can say that I have understood the knowledge, or I have understood this particular thing. When one can say that when he has experience of that particular thing.
Right.
And so if I say that, yes, I know what is the notebook, not with just with the description, but when I see that notebook, when I feel that, then I can say that, yes, I have understood what is notebook.
Correct.
So similarly, each and every principle in the universe, I can say that I have understood when I have experience of that particular object, that particular principle, that particular thing.
Right.
So knowledge or understanding of the knowledge is experiential knowledge. And so it is related with sensory perception as well. In Indian tradition, there is the term pramana. Pramana means the proofs for authentic knowledge. Now, how I can understand if this knowledge is authentic or not? I can understand this on the basis of my perception, direct perception. And what are the sources for the direct perception? Sources for the direct perceptions are basically 5 sensory organs, along with my inner sensory organs. They are not dependent on logic. Inference is not understood here.
Yeah.
Here, direct perception is understood.
Right.
And so the term darshana is there.
Correct.
That I have my own experiences regarding this particular terminology, this particular thought, this particular knowledge, understanding.
But darshanas also use different pramanas, na? Or only pratyaksha?
Different darshanas use different pramanas. But first there should be pratyaksha.
Hiranya Garbha Sukta again is a darshanik sukta. Is it the foundation of darshanas?
Yes, we can say that this is the foundational thought for the creation, which is one aspect of darshanik tradition. See, darshanik tradition goes around, first thing, what is individual, means what is the nature of individual. Then what is the nature of the primordial principle, ultimate reality. Third question is how the universe is created and what is the nature of universe, how individual is created. So these are the questions which are under the domain of darshanas. And what is the path to understand the nature of the creation and the nature of the ultimate reality or the primordial principle.
What does the sutra say about the nature of the universe?
See, here it deals with the creation process. And it wants to understand that who has created all these things. I can see, means the earth, I can perceive the sky, I can perceive water. But who has created this? So this basic question is dealt in this particular sukta. There must be one single principle. At this particular moment, I'm unable to perceive the principle.
Right.
I'm unable to see who is behind this. In all 3 suktas, that one primordial principle is there, from which each and everything is created.
Correct.
Then maybe individual, maybe different elements in the universe, Panchamahabhutas, or Varnas, or philosophical thoughts, or the knowledge, or the literature. Each and everything is created from the same primordial principle.
Why is it so important that all of this experience is attributed to one single principle?
See, this is the beginning of the thought. Slowly we can see as the development of the thought occurs, we can see that each and every darshana has their own thought process. And accordingly, we can see one or two principles
Exactly.
they have accepted as the primordial principles. When our tradition accepts two principles, primordial principles, that is Prakriti and Purusha, the conscious principle is again only the one single entity. Consciousness is just the single entity.
Right.
But Prakriti, which is unconscious, significantly contributes in the creation. When there are two primordial principles, they are identified as Prakriti and Purusha. Purusha, conscious primordial principle. And when it is said as it is a single entity, single primordial principle, it is understood as Brahma Tattva, the ultimate reality behind all this creation, which is Nirguna and Nirakara. Again, I will use the terminologies from Indian tradition very purposefully, because again, Nirguna is the loaded term. Without attributes or without qualifying things is a general translation, I can say. But this is the loaded term Nirguna and Nirakara. So I would like to use it as it is.
Yeah.
So when we are saying that two primordial principle, Purusha and is the one, which is again Nirguna, Nirakara and conscious principle.
Yeah.
And when we are saying one principle, that time also Nirguna, Nirakara principle is there behind each and everything, which is conscious and blissful.
That is a wonderful summary of how this principle is defined. But you can summarize this as trying to define something which cannot be defined by words. Is it right?
Correct. There are some limitations of language. Certain things we need to understand beyond the language. And so experience is important when we are understanding the knowledge. So again, we come to darshanas, why they are called as darshanas.
Right.
And second thing, we know that there is a tradition of khandana and mandana. So opposing the thing and establishing the thing, establishing the opinion.
Right.
And though we are opposing the things or establishing a new principle, or we are supporting the principle, this is again a beauty of Indian tradition, that we are going very near to the reality. We are not going away from the truth. We are not going away from the reality. This beautiful thing we need to keep in our mind, that we are there to discuss the thing, to churn the things, and just have the essence of the thing, essence of the principle, essence of the philosophy.
Correct. To arrive at the essence of the philosophy is the goal of the darshanas, is the goal of the practice, and I think is the goal of human life as such.
Yes.
Correct. So thank you, Madhavi. Thank you for this wonderful talk. We will meet again in the next Sukta. We will cover the next Sukta much more in detail. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Yeah.